So Callaway is letting us in backstage to see how the irons are made. Come on in. This is so cool. You're going to love this. There's fire, there's smoke, the whole thing. Come on in, come on. Shh.
Alright, so where we get to, the first step in the shop is always our cutting process. All our cutting instructions will be laid out on here, whether they're standard length, over length, under length, etc. And depending on whether it's graphite or steel, we have different lengths of cuts to do for the irons. So we'll start. Machine's an easy, simple slide ruler for us to do all our length cuts on. Turn it on. Easy cut. One cut. And then there's also a tip of braid, which takes away from any of the deburring on the tip of the shaft, which will have metal shards, etc. on it. Simple on there. Once it's done, back onto the cart, go on with the next one. Now from there, next step, which is kind of unique to our company as a whole, is a slot process. What this does is a machine here puts 3 cuts in the tip of the shaft. So you'll see once it goes in, this is how it finishes. So a little machine goes in, shaft goes in, tighten her down, check the length, turn her on. 1, 2, and the third cut. 3 cuts, and you get a finished product. Looks like that. 3 cuts makes 6 cuts in it. So that process will go into all of our bore-through irons. For the next process in our clubs, after everything's been slotted, tip of braided, we come to a section here where we do all our ferrules. So we've got a unique ferrule. Tip slot allows the shafts to compound down on itself a little bit, much like this. So it allows us to put a ferrule on easily. And we take a little guy here, which is basically a measured distance, put it down. We've got a fancy little trimmer here, which will go on there. And that trims down that little ferrule, nice and neat, so it'll allow us for the club to go on together nice and neat, just like that. So from there, the next step we have is slightly over here. This is our sandblaster. We'll have a poke in here, and we've got a blaster for our shafts and also another blaster for our hosels. So first step is a shaft. We'll turn our sandblaster on. Shaft will go in through here. Got a foot pedal down here, triggers everything to go. It's set for steel, graphite, different pressures. It's all timed. We'll have a shaft to come out looking like that, whereas an unfinished shaft will look like that. From there, we'll grab a head, much like this. Same idea. Feeder in here. Push in through the nozzle. Time blast. And it gives an air blast. That cleans all the excess sand out. So from that point, we're basically done our prep work for a set of irons, and we'll move it into the shop to do a little more work on it. What we've got over here is where we do all of our bending. Club will fit in here. It's got a different little clamping system. Clubs sit in there, then we'll clamp it down. Club will seat itself in there nice and flat. Shaft will go in. We'll measure it. This particular club is 60 degrees, and we'll need to bend it too flat, so it'll need to go to 58 degrees. Just hand pressure. And if you come and look on this side, I'll show you right there. Our new lie angle is at 58 degrees, so it's too flat for our standard 300. Just like that. Next step after our bending process is our glue process. So what we've got a prepped head, prepped shaft. Take a Q-tip, just like this, take some epoxy, coat the whole inside of the head. set the head down. We'll do the same thing for the shaft. Roll it in there, get a nice good coat. That, and then first part of our assembly process. Shaft goes in. We'll actually line up the silk screen that's on these. There's this tiny silk screen on steel. Graphite's a little difficult to line up at first, but then we got a plug. Plug will go right in there. Nice and easy like that. Tap it down. We'll make sure the club sits right on there nice and clean. If there's any little bits of epoxy left around the ring there, our ferrule, give it a quick wipe, just like that. And from there, goes into our rotary oven. Our rotary oven will go around, start to finish, with everything in there. It takes 12 minutes for a full epoxy cure. And when we're busy filling it up, we can get a set of an iron in there every 24 seconds. So for our next step, once they come out of the oven, our clubs are going to look much like this. Epoxy, as you can see, is completely coated. Tip plug's in there. Iron's basically all ready to go. All we need to do is start the grinding process. So first step of grinding, a little machine like this. Just go in there, grind it right down. So we get a nice close grind, much like that. So beforehand, it looked like that. Afterwards, that's the first step, will be our gripping process. We'll go over here. Our gripping process.